Professor Richard Wolff is with us, a Marxist economist. What do you make of Venezuela? Because it's about to become a socialist dictatorship and it's fallen to pieces.
Well, you know, it's an interesting story. If you understand the economics rather than beating a political drum, you'll know that Venezuela is one of a handful of countries that has two key facts to it. Number one, it has for the last 50 or 100 years become dependent on one product, in this case petroleum. And number two, that the price of petroleum over the last few years has fallen by half.
Let me finish.
That's why Nigeria is in a problem. That's why Saudi Arabia has more economic difficulties than anywhere else, because the price of oil...
Are they in trouble? Is North Dakota too?
Absolutely. It depends on how much you're dependent on that.
Professor,
but it's
you
silly.
know the truth here. Venezuela is not in the middle of a virtual civil war because the price of oil is down. Venezuela is in a civil war because a communist socialist dictatorship is emerging, which has taken stuff off the people, given it to cronies, and completely ruined the government. Socialism has ruined them. You know that.
No, I know that that's not the case. I know that you're
just the price of oil. That's all it is.
No,
just the price of oil.
I was trying to explain it to you. One is the price of oil that has collapsed and caused huge problems around the world that have nothing to do with socialism, since most of the other countries problematized by that aren't socialist. Number two, with Hugo Chavez and now with this government, they have tried, and I'm sure they've made lots of mistakes, to change a country that had a tiny core of rich people at the top and a mass of poverty, and to transform that. And when you try to do that, it's like making an omelet. You got to break the eggs. You got to have some trouble when you make a change
really,
like that.
116 people are dead.
Just like if you know the history of Venezuela,
116
there were
people are dead. That's not breaking eggs.
That's a small amount compared to what was done to the Venezuela people.
You're kidding, right?
What was done to the Venezuela people over 150 years. That's how they got to be the poor country that is causing upset.
That's
not a question of justified.
Shooting old people in the street?
Wow.
That's justified?
Never justified.
You just
no, I just told you it's part of the story of what's going on there.
You said it's like breaking eggs.
It's like saying to the American people, you are responsible for what happens in Iraq or Afghanistan. Is it justified? No, you're explaining it.
Which country in the world is closest to your socialist paradise?
I don't think any of them are.
Which is closest?
I don't think any of them can be ranked like that. It makes no sense to me. Socialism is a change out of capitalism. It is something that you fight for. You know, like people who lived in slavery for hundreds of years fought to get out of that system. People who lived in feudalism fought to get out of it. And people who live in capitalism are now more and more looking at a system that they think they need to change.
I've got 10 seconds. You've got to tell me, what do you think should be the top rate of income tax, federal income tax in America? The top rate, what should it be?
I think we should just go back to what it was in the 50s and 60s when it was 90% and 70%.
And can we get all those deductions installed again?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's work on that. Let's work on a tax system that is
I'm sorry, hard break. I've got to go. But thanks, John. I do appreciate it.
My pleasure.